Hello, everybody, and welcome. Yeah, GPMS contributors meeting on the 27th of the 8th. This is more of a GPMS orientation discussion, Q&A. Set the timing for the Americas, so we'll see whether or not we get our American brothers and sisters over onto this. As Emily, she's just arrived. There's no set agenda for this one. It's more of an orientation, so discussion about GPMS, Global People's Monetary System, GPMS.world, and Simplified Divine Law. I'm going to open it straight up at this point to, normally I go straight to Rick, but I actually, because we're in the Americas, I'm going to go to Emily this time. Emily, would you like to open this one up for us, my beautiful sister?
Oh, wow. Well, I'll just start by saying, you're right. I'll just start by saying thank you to everyone that's here. And, I've done what I could to put out the call to the people that follow me, that are listening to me, that are paying attention to me, whatever they're doing about me. And all I can say is I just continue to urge people to, understand that this isn't done by us. It doesn't belong to us. It's not for sale. It's something that we're giving freely to the people because that's what we've all chosen to do as spiritual beings. It was required of us. I didn't have a choice in the matter. Did any of you? I do not have a choice in this matter. So I guess the most important thing, is for people to get their questions out there. If they have questions, ask them. If they need help understanding it, let people know. And I put out a message last week. I told people, if you feel the least bit uncomfortable at explaining the GPMS to a crowd of people, I'm more than open to be there in the meetings with you to, bring forth maybe a backup, if you will. So it doesn't matter if you don't feel fully comfortable and you don't have the full understanding. There are people that do, and it shouldn't be a reason to stop you from sharing the information with other people. I don't have a whole lot of guidance in this because I'm really, I really want to hear people's questions. I want to answer questions.
No
That's
worries.
really what this meeting was about. So I
Yeah,
want to leave the floor really open for people that don't have the understanding and want to ask their questions so that they can be answered. Thank you.
perfect. No, absolutely awesome, because we're going to leave this open anyway for this to make it more of a discussion based. But Rick, have you got anything you'd like to add at this point, brother? Or how's your internet, my friend?
Ah, internet's great. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you everyone, and I'm so glad to be here. So as Lee said, we decided to make ourselves available for North America to answer any questions on this. Uh, I'll just make one statement at this time, and what I wish to say is GPMS is the total replacement of the present society you have with its monetary system and its so-called lawful, uh, legal, I should say, legal construct. So what GPMS does, it replaces the present savage system with a civilized, humane system that supports every being upon the planet. And GPMS is being done in a logical way that it's easily understood from a logical viewpoint as well. And having said that, the divine element is also a part of this, and without the divine element, let me say, it would not be guaranteed, but it is guaranteed. So I'll just leave it there and keep it short right now. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, it doesn't look like we've got many that are going to ask questions at this point. So whilst we're just opening this up, Den, brother, you got anything you'd like to say?
I've always got plenty to say, haven't I? Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting time, and even this call, it's likely we may have one or two others, or even more than that, drop in at some point. Some people aren't that great with their timekeeping. Some people might sit, and then just feel urged to come in. But yeah, it's really down to us to obviously come together and as quickly as possible do that in a physical fashion as well. So as we know, our ability to reach people on the internet worldwide is obviously possible through the internet, but there are things that occur which basically slow that down. But the physical connection is where that cannot be stopped. And so as we start collaborating more in a physical sense, and that we're going to start seeing more momentum. This is what we've seen, of course, over in the Philippines and in Thailand. Obviously, amazing work going on there. Yeah, with the new monetary system, the simplified divine law, ultimately, this is what actually creates the reality where, all of the problems that we are seeing an increase of just come to an instant end, and so there is some clarity that people often will find that they need, because it is such a big shift for some who are first coming across it. But now it's obviously just occurring divinely, where people will come across it and they'll be more and more ready. But we sort of see people that are in 2 or 3 different categories. You've got the people that really basically do really care about the future of what's going on for their families, but they're perhaps focusing on just trying to do what they can for their own families at the moment, and they think that that's what they should be doing. But they're obviously going to see more and more things occur which will actually sort of make them realize that actually they can't just focus on their own family unit anymore, and they're going to have to do something about it, and they can't rely upon the centralized powers, the governments to do anything, because it's just not going to work. And this is why GPMS is being created, because actually it ends all of the savage problems instantly. And so it only takes a choice for us to actually come together and do this. And this is why it is so powerful that we have this platform now, which actually shows that visibly to everyone, because it cannot be denied and it cannot be opposed. This kind of perception about needing, a government to, govern us is just, it's absolute nonsense, really. We've been programmed to think that all our lives, but ultimately things will be so much better once we actually bring in this new reality where we're all just, working cohesively together to do what's right for everyone. And that can only happen when we come together in unity as we are. And so this is what we're here to do. And so, yeah, just putting that out there just to sort of explain that. But yeah, anyone else can take over now.
Spot on, brother. How many you got your hand up?
Yeah, I just, some things don't come up for me until other people are sharing. And over here in the US, and I'm sure other people have witnessed it as well, we're still dealing with this mental construct, that you have to work and work and work and work and work and work to earn the money that you need to provide for your family. That's really the layer of consciousness that we are working through. You don't. That is the scam. Because once they hook your energy into that other, let's just call it what it is, the 3D, once you're in that part of the matrix, then you're literally hooked in, you're plugged into that part of the matrix. And I understand that people all, not only in the US, but even all over the world, are really contemplating fighting the government in courts, fighting the bankers in court. I'm listening to these people have these discussions with me and share their experiences. They have all of these ideas on how it's going to work for them. And all I can do is throw my hands up, because I know that the divine law that covers everyone is that this is our divine rights. That's why it cannot be opposed. This is a divine natural thing that comes from God. Those rights are given to us by Creator and nothing else. And people are really trying to be okay and feel safe in their bodies. I'm telling you right now, the energies that we're still working through collectively in the United States to break down those programs and conditionings, it's been intense. And I know that we're getting closer because the light workers on the planet, they're feeling it. They're feeling that they should have done something, and that something should have already happened. They should have already been in their dream reality, you know. I'm serious. They really believe that somebody has convinced them of some psyop that we're all going to ascend and be taken off planet while everybody else is left behind in this reality. And it's just not true. It is just not true. We've all made a soul's decision to be here on earth at this time, to be the change, to create the change. And deep down inside of every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of source and knowing innately what the right thing to choose is. And so when we're dealing with ones, you know, that let me put it in these terms. When I'm interacting with a being that doesn't quite know how valuable they are yet, the only thing I can do is to stay true to how valuable I am and continue to reflect that out into the world. And it's felt like a battle, because sometimes I've had to like stand up for myself and say, no, 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 no. That's your reality and this is mine. And I'm responsible for my reality. I think once we get people to understand that they are really creating in every moment of their life, you know, that's the biggest one. Let me be accountable for what I'm doing in the world. That's the biggest one. And once people fully understand, it is not my job to tell you what to choose, how to live, how to act, how to talk. That isn't my job. My job is just to share space with you. I'm just here to share space. That's it. I'm not here to govern you or tell you what to do. And even recently, in, you know, some of the newcomers that I've seen come into the GPMS, they have these ideas of how people are supposed to share GPMS, how they're supposed to get the information out there. And it has been a fundamental principle of the GPMS.world from the beginning. We don't tell anybody how to do it. It's always going to be up to the individual to choose it, share it, and create with it however they want. And I know that within myself, that has to be maintained. Nobody's here to boss anybody around or tell anybody how to do this or how to do that. We're leaving all of that behind. We're transitioning and shifting humanity into total freedom. And I think I've rambled now, so I'm going to be quiet.
No, all good. I mean, relevant points. Direction, we give direction, but we don't direct. There's a different thing. We give guidance, but we don't tell. You know, all of these things are in there, and this is why it's kind of interesting to see those that can direct themselves, that have got their own agency, that are working towards autonomy. What's the word? What's the word, Beatrice? Sovereignty, but you use the word autonomy. That's the word. Autonomy, self-autonomy or self-governance. But even the word governance means to control, and we don't need that in there at all. It's become very, very evident that many don't realize the depth of the fraud or the deceit or the evil. They're still skirting over the edges of it without going into it and realizing it is corrupt to the core. It is rotten. What the environment is that people exist in is rotten. The system is rotten. It doesn't repair itself. You throw it away. You grow a new one. And the unity that we're calling for is based on a very, very simple common core: freedom. Absolute freedom and universal divine law, do no harm. There's the two things. That's all you got to agree on. Do you want freedom, and do you want to be free to do everything inside do no harm? The monetary system that is in the nomenclature, in the name GPMS, is only a very small part of what GPMS is. It's a systemic change. It cuts out the rotten core and allows humanity to regrow that in their own image, in an image of, in a Christed image, if you will, one that thrives, one that enjoys freedom. one that enjoys absolute and total and inalienable rights God-given on an individual level, and one that respects all of that unequivocally. This is something that isn't manipulable. It isn't something that can be deceived. It's based on transparency and truth. Now, all of these things are good. All of these things are what most would wish for. Yet they don't feel that they are worthy of it because they've placed no value in themselves, because the system has told everybody that everything outside of them is the value. And that's where one of the biggest lies lies. There is nothing more valuable than you. The virtue within, the heart is where the value lies. And yet we place so much value on the exterior, on the external, on the material, as if that is important. And it isn't. And this is where the change will happen, when people start to realize that they are the value. You can't live every day in torment and suffering and deny it to yourself when it's evident to yourself that that is what is being caused. People do not realize they cause it to themselves because they are creators of their own realities. The system teaches you that it's humanity doing it, or these and those and the others. It isn't. It's an individual task where each and every one of you causes your own torment and suffering because of the system's indoctrination, deceit, and malevolence. There will come a time when you have had enough of that. When you see how deep that core is, how rotten that core is, you will see it is beyond repair. It is just to be thrown away, discarded, and we start again. But where do we start? Where's the common ground? Do we want freedom, or do we want to go back to the same thing? Do we want to value intrinsically, or do we want to value externally again that was manipulated so much like it was before? So the inversion is where we're going to be going, and this will be an individual choice. Once people realize what they are as children of creation, divine sparks of creation, how powerful they are, and how free they always were. But we're in the midst of this. We're right in the sort of melting pot of all of this happening, with so many different layers of consciousness, belief systems holding on to indoctrinated ideas that are so false, yet held on to as if they're so real, like limbs, like you're losing a limb. And these all must be released as we move forward. Beatrice, you've got your hand up. I won't keep rambling either.
Yeah, hello to everyone. So first of all, I saw that Roderick put a question on the chat. During our transition to GPMS, how do we protect ourselves or the people from these psychopaths lashing out and still clings to their power and not letting go? So I would invite also Rick to speak a little bit about the link between all the governments, because this is the true corruption, and how we put via GPMS down all this. This is very simple, because GPMS, it's the real shift, the power shift to the people, to the 99% from the 1%. And the protection is coming when the people gather together, when the number gather. Even that GPMS to the inception may have a lot of, needs to have a lot of votes, we can start to protect ourselves before, when the number is coming more than what we have today, like worldwide. So we need just more people involved. So Rick, if you want to explain a little bit the government link, exactly the corruption, this is the key of the corruption, and the mafia is linked inside, and this is also the reason that BRICS cannot be a real protection. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Beatrice. So in answering Rod's question, I need to begin there where Beatrice said it.
Also, we were not able to hear you, Rick. Your internet is not working well.
Let's say they all go to lunch together, and let's say the US and China They are actually great buddies that create storylines, and let's say even the same with Russia and what have you. So what you need to look at is all of these governments are interconnected. They are the one evil. Now, you're asking, how do we protect ourselves or the people from these psychopaths? Well, the first thing is to trust. Trust in God and Creator and yourself. And what this does, it lifts you up into a layer that you become protected because you are aligned with what is right and what is lawful. Very quickly, in respect to this, the legal fiction structure is artificial law, it is negative law. They like to say it's positive law as part of the illusion. But one thing, it is negative and it cannot compete with divine universal natural law of GPMS, which is absolute law, which is simply do no harm. And with the GPMS lawful structure, that's what it does. It uplifts, it supports everyone. There is no harm compared to this present capitalistic system where it creates wealth disparity, classes, it creates poverty, that creates death, and what have you. So it cannot compete and it cannot compare. So once one's become aligned with GPMS and have more of this knowledge of what is actually going on, and is above all of these false narratives and storylines, most of them concocted by the darkness with misinformation and false hope spread in there. So you have many that think they are awake, but they don't have all of this information yet. So there is another level for them to go into so they understand the fullest scope of what has been occurring upon the planet. So again, with these psychopaths, you're saying lashing out and still clings to their power and not letting go. Well, the thing is, they will retain their power if the people don't unite and do something about it. And it's absolutely ludicrous when you have supposedly 250 worldwide leaders of the old system telling 8 billion people what to do. Where we are going with GPMS, as soon as we have 250 GPMS guardians ready to stand shoulder to shoulder with a panel and present it to the world, what are you going to choose? Well, it's going to be all over because everyone will choose the GPMS, but we're still getting there. And to protect yourself, you do what you need to do, but keep your integrity and your virtue intact. It is so important not to lie, not to get into deceit, because the actual energetics upon the planet is constructed in such a way that for any to get involved in anything non-virtuous, it will set you in an imploding tailspin until if you're able to redeem yourself and rectify what you had just done, if it is any deceptive means. And this energetics is designed this way to further implode all of the evil itself, all of the system. So with this, you do what you need to do to survive, but keep your integrity intact until we have the majority. But what you're going to see, Roderick, as the numbers get bigger and bigger in GPMS, it keeps changing reality to reflect the total goodness and absoluteness and integrity of GPMS. So what it does each day, it's weakening and weakening the evil psychopaths more and more as the people strengthen. So I'll keep it there with that. Anyone else can add if they wish. Thank you.
Hi, yeah, I'll quickly add to that. Just to very quickly just say again, your biggest offense is unity. So, you know, in order to opt out of the current system, you need to opt into another one. And the only one that's on the table is GPMS.world, right? Very simply, once you do that, you have opted out of the system. And as soon as you get others to see GPMS and they can resonate with it, because they will, because who doesn't want a completely total free world, right? Then, you know, ultimately you don't have to worry about the, you know, what's happening, because, you know, all of these bad negative forces, you know, they're operating for as long as they can, but they're losing their power all the time. It's really just playing out right now. But I mean, just to take it back to, again, perspective as well, just the most simplest way of looking at how savage the world is. Like, nobody can argue with it really when they actually look at it for what it is. I mean, if I just sort of take the example for like, you know, you get penalty charge notices, you get fines for, you know, speeding or for parking or whatever. The cost of that fine basically can feed like 30 children in Africa for a week. So why should you be paying money supporting a system that's actually causing direct harm to people, when that money could actually be actually feeding children that are desperately in need of food? And there's the law for you. That's the simplified natural law, that we are here to protect our brothers and sisters and look after our brothers and sisters properly, not to pay a penalty charge notice for a parking fine. But again, it's about perspective. Because once you start to see things in that way, then you automatically start to just feel this inner strength that comes with it. You know, I run a carpet cleaning business, and, you know, the system that's in place at the moment would say that someone that's basically been very ill, but may not have any money, and let's just say, you know, they've actually basically lost control of their bowels all over the carpet, right? But they can't afford to pay what I would need to charge if I'm to pay taxes or charge taxes for that service. It means that they would have to go without that service because they can't afford it, because taxes need to be added to that. The government needs to charge money for somebody basically not being able to control their bowels over the carpet. They seem to think they have a right to that money. Now, that might be a bit of a weird example, but it just highlights that, you know, again, if I was to do the right thing, which would be just to go out and offer a service and say I have to do it just to basically cover my own cost, but not actually pay taxes, you know, to the government for doing that for someone that obviously needs me to come into their home and clean up for them, then, you know, it's ridiculous that the system actually says that I have to go there and I have to charge taxes and they have to make money out of somebody who's been very sick and very ill. So again, it really is just giving you an example there of how ridiculous the current system is. And obviously when we bring in a new system where there's unlimited funding for all people, you know, that there's no problems anymore as well, because I love the example that Rick's given before about sort of, you know, when families obviously split up and they separate, there's no challenge there or difficulty there for people just to go their separate ways because there's full funding. And so people aren't trapped. And, you know, this actually just enables everybody just to move and be free in all respects. And so, yeah, that's all I wanted to add on that.
Perfect, brother. Let me just add, just before, Beatrice, if you still got your hand up for a second, because Emily's just put hers up. So if you have, Beatrice, I'll come to you next. But I just wanted to add to that, Dan, what you were saying about governments. And I just wanted to make it plain again that governments are corporate bodies that profit from the people. They are a business. They are owned by others, and they pull money out of people. They care not for the people in the slightest. They care for themselves and their paymasters. It will be good when people start to realize that governments do that all over the planet, and that's their job. Rather than think that they are working for you, they are certainly not. Thank you. Beatrice, over to you.
So Joseph Botticelli, he also inserted a question. So when he started to be informed about GPMS on Twitter, he said, I click on it and went to website and sign my consent. So how do I start a conversation about it? Because so far I've only posted tweets about and also Facebook, and he saw that probably the people around at the time, they were not really interested on this subject. So first of all, you need to say to Joseph Botticelli that we have also a weekly newsletter, and we started also to gather people that they have also links, so you can reach us. We have also a meeting on Friday for North America. It's practically with somebody from the United States, and it is exactly the subject, how we can start a conversation, tips and everything that we can do. I can see that you have at this time a physical situation, physical limitation. Unfortunately, you are back. We know also a little bit of natural intervention. So depending on your situation, maybe we may have some idea too. We can also maybe put you in link with some good people for your health, and also so we can help also with some ideas, and also how you can act only via the internet, only online. This is not a problem. So we start by creating by ourselves GPMS accounts on many platforms, not only Twitter, not only Facebook. For example, there is also Instagram. We create chat, and the people, when they see, they come across, and they post daily freedom news, and we can start the discussion there. So also you can also participate very well, for example, in a Zoom room, GPMS Zoom room. If you have your question for the GPMS, this is not a problem at all. We can answer to you until you will be formed, and you will be able to say to the people exactly what they need to hear, to be much more informed about a lot of small things and details. Yes, Emily, if you want to continue also on this subject, because this is a subject that is very discussed in the United States, especially on Friday.
Sure. How do you start a conversation about GPMS? However it feels like, however you feel comfortable doing that. I mean, it's not for me to tell you how that is for you. It's your comfort level. It's whatever level of, whatever you're coming from. Personally, I use like little small sentences to trigger people. I'm being honest. I do it intentionally. It's not, I don't have an ill intent. There's no ill intent, but I'll say something really small, like, if you could end the death of 10,000 children dying every day from starvation, would you? That opens the conversation. They're like, wait a minute. Well, yeah. Immediately they're like, well, of course, I would love to be a part of that. So it's just little small things that I say to get people's attention and to maybe crack open, the thought processes that there's another way, that there's something else out there. I mean, you can literally, I literally go straight for the ego, and I'll ask people, are you ready to be a superhero and save the world? I mean, do it however you feel comfortable doing it, because that's what I do. Whenever I start a conversation with anybody, I do it from whatever's coming from here, from the heart. Beatrice, can you mute your microphone, please, sweetheart? Thank you. But there's something I want to say, because I've been working with some young people in the US, and a young man brought it to my attention. He said, well, Ancient, people don't understand when you give them something for free. And that's what GPMS is. This is being given to you. We're giving this to people. It's a gift to humanity. And he was telling me, what the people, he was talking about the people he knows, what they resonate with is having to pay for things. And he was like, just think about it. If I'm at a store and there is 2 different pairs of blue jeans, in America, people will buy the more expensive pair of blue jeans just because they think it makes them look better. So that's the kind of crap we're dealing with in the US. This shallow, materialistic mess. And I've been going through these layers with people that, you know, they somehow, some way they've convinced themselves that there's a hierarchy in God's kingdom, and there's not. There's no hierarchy in spirituality. We're all created equally in the same force of love all over the world. And so how to start a conversation, just come from your comfort level. And like I said, if you start getting people interested and interactive with you and you feel like you need help, message me. We'll plan a meeting for whoever wants to be a part of that meeting, and I'll show up, I'll participate, I'll answer questions, and I'll be true to myself because that's the best thing I can do. And I want to touch on something with Rick's talking about keeping your virtue and don't tell lies. Everyone on earth is going to have to stop lying to themselves. All of those people that, you know, are telling themselves that the government is going to give them their freedom, that they're lying to themselves. The government is not going to give you your freedom because they can't. Your freedom comes from here. It's in you. It's given to you from source. It isn't an external thing. Nobody can give it to you. Nobody can take it away. And that's the truth. So, Joseph, I hope I answered your question. And I'd like to use Joseph as an example. Here he is on his back, can't get up. And probably what's the one thing that's keeping him from getting help? Money. Because why? The savage medical system that we use over here in the US won't treat you unless you can pay for it. That's not the divine natural laws. And any healer on the planet can tell you that. I can heal anything, I can heal anyone, and I can heal anywhere. And I'm not supposed to charge people for that gift. I'm just not. So here we are again, facing the dilemma. You need money to pay your mortgage. You need money to buy your clothes. You need money to pay for your insurance. And I know people are really, really casting a lot of doubt, you know, on whether or not this is going to happen. And I keep telling them it's already happened. GPMS.world is already the largest sovereign nation on earth. We are. We've all taken this oath within ourselves. I'm going to do whatever I can to bring life and joy and create bliss in your life. That's my oath to humanity. That's my oath. So I hope I answered the question.
Ultimately, GPMS is inevitable. It's got to be realized first. And Joseph, I think many people have asked the same question. What is it they can do? How do we invoke these conversations? How do we speak to these people that deny it? There's so many over the last period of time. Emily knows as well. We've heard many reasons why not GPMS, and very few reasons why. It's this negative aspect where one's just instantly go into mistrust and distrust of everything. This is that thing about it's got to be valuable. The more I pay for it, the more I trust it. This is the inversion. This is the indoctrinated inversion. You have to work hard for your money, therefore what you buy has value. No, you have the value, and it's all being stolen. So inside these conversations where we open this up, there's a lot of pushback because it goes against everything that being believes or has been taught to believe and think. So really, it's how you feel, like Emily said, how you feel most comfortable in opening it up, and just plant seeds, brother. There is no pressure on anybody sharing GPMS. There is no success. There is no markable or measured success by a conversation with one in that moment. It happens over time. And that's all we've been doing for a long time now, it feels like, is planting those seeds and allowing them to germinate. As humanity are watching every system, as the darkness is showing themselves everywhere, as it's becoming more and more undeniable, those that are holding on to denial are finding it harder. And therefore, they're fighting and lashing out at every solution. They're distrusting everything because they distrust themselves. And this is where that value must be put back internally and the love must go back within. Humanity in general have no trust for themselves. So anything on the outside that seems too good to be true is immediately debunked. But it won't be when humanity realize themselves. So, brother Rick, you got your hand up.
Thank you, Lee. With this, a couple points I wrote down. We are open for all meetings and
It's me listening to you guys. Is that it?
anyone watching this can contact Lee, Emily, Beatrice well.
Struggling with internet, brother. Yeah, turn your camera off, Rick. Just try talking, brother.
Has he come out and jumped out?
No, I think he's seized. I think he's seized up, and I didn't catch quite what he was saying. I was making a cup of tea.
He was talking along the lines of that anyone is free to connect with us directly and have us support you in any meetings as well. I would also just to add that actually, you know,
No questions, just talking. Just talking.
Sorry.
Okay, that's Andrea, I think.
Sorry, Andrea. Sorry, Andrea.
Since I've been on here, I've listened to administration and stuff, and I'm all for you guys. I'm 100% behind you. I'm 100% behind you.
Awesome.
But I see on Facebook, administer posts, like I'm inspired out here and we're all one and it's unity, right? I took a picture of a pink pillar of light and I posted it because I felt safe on GPMS and it wasn't posted. There's ordinary people out here and I'm listening to Rick Jules and I didn't know what I was going through. I'm doing grid work out here, whatever, it's for the greater good, service to others. But I'm hearing administrative people. I'm not hearing other ordinary, not so ordinary people speaking. I understand what you guys are saying. Okay, I understand that you're getting out information, but the regular Joes out here that know what's going on, that agree with you 100%, they're lost in the mix. Because I've been on here for 47 minutes and I've heard administrative. 2 questions were answered. 2 questions from people who want to know. So why is there more posts from administrative people on GPMS if we're all the same? There's inspirational people doing grid work all over the world, and I want to see those posts. I want to see other people who are like me, who are engaged, who are inspired. I love you guys.
I think
Andrea, hang on. Can I just, Andrea, I think it would help if you were actually made an admin of the Facebook page. So you could see what posts.
I'm seeing most administrative
I know.
posts up on there.
I do see what you're
I'm
saying.
seeing most administratively posts up there than your regular Joes. Every once in a while, there's a
aren't.
regular Joe.
There are every once in a while, but that's all they are, once in a while. And when you say we're administrative, I'm sat in Cambodia going, my partner's in the Philippines going, we're on the road. We're not administering anything. We're sharing GPMS to the people in the countries well, we are, I am.
I'm
in
just saying that
stations.
there's a minimal people with the administrative, like Emily and Devin. There's, and their points of view count. I'm not discounting their point of view. Everybody's my teacher, everyone.
But what
Every
I'm trying to
person
get
on
at
the
is there
face of
is,
this earth. So why
So
isn't,
so
once you
Andrea,
join, why can't you post certain things that are inspirational for
okay.
becoming GPMS world?
Okay,
there,
well, because the GPMS.world Facebook has had rules, and the Telegram channels and other channels that we distribute this information to, we created rules that only GPMS.world related information would be shared.
So a
And we
pink
get
pillar
and
of
we get
light that I posted that was in
right.
Vegreville here in Alberta, Canada, had nothing to do with inspiring other people in GPMS world because I'm a part of.
No.
Okay, that's not what we're saying. So what I'm asking is, how does it posting a pillar of light create the unity? What is that? How is that GPMS.world related? I understand that it's all entangled and it's all connected, but aren't there other groups that share those things? Because GPMS.world has remained focused on GPMS.world information.
So just the information, that's okay. So I'm misunderstanding here. So you're just, it's just the contract that you're, the contract of signing, which I did lovingly and gratefully and full of joy, right? Is that all it's
Andrea, can I
pertaining
just say
to?
there
Is
is no
that's it?
contract. You're not contracted and you didn't sign anything. You chose to
No, I
unite
mean,
and
like,
unify.
I'm
Yeah, but
sorry, used.
no, it's
I'm
okay. But
just,
let's just
yeah, I'm
clean.
just trying to understand because I
No,
thought
what it's
that
about
was
is
part
keeping
of it,
people.
you know, like
What it's about is
posting
keeping
really
people involved
inspiring.
in what GPMS is doing and not having to necessarily scroll through what could be spiritual empowerment posts after posts after posts before you find out something pertinent to what GPMS is doing. It's not
Oh,
denying anybody the empowerment posts or denying the pillars of light, but they are being seen on many, many other pages. But GPMS
yeah,
isn't.
I just thought that they would be with GPMS because I'm open to that, right? I'm
Yeah, I get
open
that.
to
I see
like
it. And
whatever Rick posts on his Facebook or whatever, I'm open to that. So I just assumed that you guys did that too. And I'm so very sorry for that. I just thought we were
no,
here
we
out
do.
here to inspire you. Hey, I seen this. Hey, look at this. Oh, look, a fairy. Oh, you know what I mean? Like just to help the numbers sign, you know,
No,
just help the
the point is
numbers, right?
still the point still has to be made that we could put 500 of those inspiring posts up and one
Yes.
GPMS post, and most will miss the GPMS post. And then they'll ask,
Oh,
what's the information about GPMS? What's the information? What's going on? We've
yeah.
said it many, many times on the Telegram group, the same, where post, and people don't want to scroll through them all. So they miss the relevant, they pick up the empowerment and then ask the questions about the information we've already put out because they haven't seen it. So what we thought it'd be very, very simple to keep GPMS and make it pertinent and
Yes.
relevant to GPMS and not necessarily watered down, even though it's a beautiful things with empowerment posts,
Yeah.
these other things inside those
Yeah.
profiles. So please don't see it as
Okay.
a resistance to those. That's certainly not. It's keeping
Oh,
those
Jiminy
pages relevant.
Cricketly. No, I sound resistant only because I'm going like, let's part like, hey, look what I found in other people. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like,
beautiful.
yeah, so now I
I,
understand. Okay, and yeah, because I'm 100% on board. I'm just going like, okay, this is informative. This is informative. I already know that. I'm all for it. I'm on board, right? Yeah. I got to think of others, I guess. See?
The
It's
thing
all
is,
good.
Andrea.
the
Again,
thing,
Q&A.
yeah, the thing is that there's so many
Yeah,
different people
Andrea.
being invited. Yeah, so many people are being invited to have a look at global people's monetary system who are of very different perspectives, and some will not have travelled down that pathway yet to anchoring of the light and doing all of that in very important work, and it won't make any sense to them why they've even been invited to have a look at the Facebook page. That's why really, but that's needs to explain really. Sorry,
That makes so much sense because, you know, like I'm here now and I was back there a while ago, so I can see where that's coming from. I'm so sorry. I perceived it as a like, hey, let's share each other's, you know, like I apologize. I so apologize.
Oh, don't apologize. It's a perfectly reasonable question. And hopefully that's cleared it up. There are reasons it's not just
Yes.
administrations being administrators.
No, that makes so much sense that you want that clarity of what you're putting out there. Like I understand it. So I assume that other people would understand it fully and completely like I do.
Well,
You
if they
know,
don't, they
so
can see
that's
this
my
video.
misunderstanding. Yeah. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Very very grateful for bringing that up. That's beautiful. I think Beatrice may have wanted to say something. Did you want to add something there? I've got something that I was just going to add as well. But Beatrice, if you want to go first because you had your hand up.
I believe that Andrea, are you from Canada?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So we have here also Turtle Island, all the world united. You can see there. Okay, so on this website, we gather also people from Canada, and we have also chat. We can post everything that is related to Alberta. I know about the fire, I posted a lot. So we can start communication on any kind of subject, like everything is for us. GPMS.world also develop project like school GPMS, new label on products, and also especially on organic products. And we can gather with farmers. We can do absolutely a lot of project. We can develop a lot via GPMS.org and gather the people. So we can work together. For me, it will be just a pleasure.
Yes, I would love that. Thank you, Beatrice.
Yeah,
Yes,
so it's this one. It's Turtle Island / all the world united. turtleisland.ca, all the world united is this one. Yeah, and from there you can find me also on Telegram chat and also on the newsletter. You can find also the website, and from there you can text me, or we can be in touch. Then starting from there, we can work together. This will be my pleasure, and much more than that, I will be back in Alberta by September.
Perfect.
Can you please type that in the chat, because I can only see a part of it, Beatrice, please?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool.
Excellent. Before we continue, did you have something to say, Dan? Because Serge got his hand up.
I was going to add something before, but if Serge wants to come in and say what he wants to say first, and then I can go in after.
Okay.
Serge?
Yeah, no worries. Serge, you got your hand up, brother.
Hi guys. It's like I have a question. It's like I understand we need to sign up for the GPMS. I already signed up long ago. But the question is what this signature means. It's like for regular people, they have a like a, I don't know, just like some stopping in a mind, stopping in a like a proceeding to the website, proceeding to reading it, because they like hear the question or not like a question, like the directions you need to sign up. What is the signature of the people means? I understand it's like gonna change the energetic. As soon as people sign up, they have to start dreaming about this GPMS, and the future gonna come sooner than later. But is this other way? It's like this signature gonna be showing to the old system, like to the old governments, hey, here you go, we have a proof. We have, for example, millions and millions of people. So you guys just step out. What is exactly the signature means? Why we collecting the signature? That's my question.
Beautiful. I'll just answer that quickly, Dan, and then I'll let you jump in if that's quick. I'm not going to spend too long on this. It's just going to be there's no signature required. It's an autograph. The site has not got a mention of signature upon it. So it's an autograph. Signature, it means fall from nature, sig nature. It's not a great thing, full stop. So we have no signature requirement. It's an autograph. And what it is your own energetic consent. It's a vote. And all it is a dot, whatever you want to put on there, a heart, a tree, a star. It doesn't matter. I was going to say a triffid, but most people won't know what that is. It's not about that. It's about your energetic choice to vote and consent. So it's not a contract. There's no signature requirement. There's an autograph which says, yes, I've been here. But it's your autonomy. It's yours. It's nobody else's, and all it does is signifies that you have an intent and intent to join and unite. Over to you, Dan.
Continue. Yeah. So, and to quickly add to that, I mean, obviously, you're authenticating your desire to be a part of the three-phase plan, of which phase 3 is distribution of funds, and of course, that's where we need to capture the authenticity of the people who will be receiving their bank card or whatever way of method of distribution we're going to obviously allocate at that point of phase 3 of the plan. So it's just like, you know, of course, if people want to have access to money, you know, I can't see us saying that everyone's going to have, we're only going to have cash again when we actually implement, although cash or money will be something that will be available to those if that's what's decided by the people generally, that we would have that as part of the solution or not. But we definitely will have probably digital currency or a bank card at least to get the money to people as quickly and as rapidly as possible. And so, of course, we're capturing that information with the agreement. So I hope that helps answer the question as well. But yeah, we're back to sort of what we're talking about with inviting people to look at GPMS and bringing it up in the conversation. I mean, of course, this is going to get much, much easier as time goes on. It's much easier now to bring it up than it was 2-3 years ago at the very beginning, especially before the website came along, right? But of course, again, you'll find that there's certain people that are going to be much more receptive to the conversation being open with them than others, right? So there are people that actually you can find that you'll speak to them about GPMS and you'll get a vibe from them, and instantly they'll get it, like immediately. And they'll be excited about it. I mean, I had an experience just the other day. I was in a cab on the way to Brighton, and the taxi driver, he was actually from Romania, and we started talking about obviously what was going on in terms of this 15-minute cities and the ULEZ expansion and all the rest of it that's going on over here in the UK. And then I said to him, look, I've got some great news for you, brother. I said, there's something going on right now. It's worldwide. We're coming together. Told him about GPMS in 2 minutes, and he said, I'm so happy you told me that that's going on. You know, I know that something needs to be done. I just didn't think anyone was doing anything about it. You know, so yeah, I definitely want to know more. So he got it instantly, and I didn't even have to give him that much information on it. But there's other people that you may start a conversation with, and there's certain things that they're just going to not be receptive because of where they are at the moment in terms of the consciousness and just you know, their just current mindset, you know, and lack of self-worth. But it will get a lot easier, and it will get a lot easier once we are gathering and uniting in a physical sense in groups, which is why this is a beautiful meeting that Emily's organized here with you know, our brothers and sisters here in North America. And because obviously as we gather in the different areas around the world in a physical fashion, then actually it's easier when there's a group of you and you can have, you know, a few little, you know, I don't know, signs or whatever, just to sort of attract attention, get some conversations going with people around you that will actually then add to that number of people as you keep on doing it on a regular basis. And that's what we need to be doing all over the world. And but there are people, of course, again, that you try and speak to, like I say, at the moment, you try and speak to them you're not going to, it's not going to resonate with everyone immediately because everyone's at a different stage of the process. But as time goes on, more and more people will be ready. You always bring up the conversation, and again, it's a case of listening a lot of the time. You hear them say something that they're not happy about, and then you can bring something relevant about GPMS into the conversation, and that's how you can start it. And it doesn't matter whether or not they resonate with it immediately or not. You're sowing the seed with them, and that's the most important thing, because they'll go away and they'll think about what's been said, and then at some point they'll see or hear something else from someone else or whatever, and it all just builds to them being more ready for those people who aren't ready immediately when you first bring it up. So yeah, that's all I wanted to add to that. But yeah, I do feel that actually, again, as we see in the Philippines, what's been going on in Thailand and how the numbers, and in India, again, the community is very close knit. So of course, that's another reason, right, where it's obviously spreading, virally over there. But that can happen everywhere very easily.
It's not quite viral yet.
Well,
but it's,
what I'm saying.
I know where it will be, and I know it will be, yeah. But it's still, we're still breaking down disbelief, distrust, mistrust. We're still having to answer a lot of questions in very, very poor areas where people really have nothing and yet still don't believe they are worth anything. So we, again, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, there is this same sort of conscious negation to anything pure and good being available to a soul. And no matter a choice of it, as soon as a choice is given, it's, well, where's the catch? Of course, that's the way the mind is working. But, as more and more get it, more and more are available to get it. And that puts more pressure on those that don't see it to see it. It becomes more available. So we are working through this. But I did want to go back to Serge. Serge, brother, we answered quickly your question. Was that enough, brother? Did it answer it for you?
I want to go in detail. I have my hand up. I want to go in detail and
Serge,
answer.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I feel an intense pressure to, add my answer to his question, because when you autograph to the GPMS.world, what you are individually doing is you are adding your voice as an individual being of the universe. And the global people's monetary system is a voting system. When you start adding the people's voice to one global system, you immediately begin to break down all of the governments all over the world that had everybody convinced that we were somehow separate. We're not. I am connected to every other being on earth. It doesn't matter if they're in Russia, if they're in Africa, or wherever they're at. There is no other voting system on the planet that is actually allowing you and your vote to even matter, because all of those voting systems that were in the old system, they're all corrupt. They were not counting our voices. They were not even remotely caring that we were putting our energy to give them this power. So once we stop voting for those politicians and we start voting for ourselves, that's how we take our power back. You understand what I'm saying, Serge? It's a collective agreement all over the world to live in peace, live in abundance, and to treat each other with love and fairness and equality. That's my answer.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I got it. It's like without voice, without like autograph in a website, it's like you are neutral. You did nothing to choose this reality. So you have to like give your autograph to the website. Otherwise, like nobody knows, nobody understands. I got it. Thank you.
Perfect. Beatrice, your hands up. You're muted. You're muted. Unmute.
I am sorry. Yes.
Better?
Right now I am on mute. Thank you so
Yes.
much. So just to continue what Emily said about the politician, because she's extremely right on this direction. When we finally stop to give our rights to a politician and to wait that this politician will do something for all of us, when we will start to do that, we keep our rights for ourselves, and we will start to manifest in the way that we are able to stop a lot of things even before GPMS inception. And this is coming also to the question how we can stop these psychopaths on this way. So right now, what is coming with BRICS a little bit, because we started this discussion before the recording. So the good people that already contacting me, that they are involved in this BRICS, this is just another distraction, and I will say why. So they are good ones. They want GPMS to happen, but they are saying right now, BRICS it's already advanced, and we have to do something because practically the earth is on fire, and we need the financial system, and we need to continue right now with BRICS and everything, but they are already interested on GPMS.world. So why the border mean control? Emily explained in another meeting, she'll explain maybe better after. So it's also, yes, Rick?
No, keep going, Beatrice. Keep going for a second. Den's got his hand up in Rick.
So practically all the time they put fake artificial laws, and they inserted borders to control the resources. So this is the first situation, and they inserted all the time the politician to do this kind of job. And even right now they will change a little bit the law, and they will insert the other politician. They will go still nowhere because they will have the power of the people. They will have not that. Even that they want to come back with a republic of 1871, this is not backed by the people. And the BRICS, it's also based on pressure metals. And right now the East people, they started to understand that this is a link between what the West is doing with the Republic of 1871 and the pressure metals, because the East, they believe on Putin. They believe that this is coming from Putin. No, it's not coming from Putin. This is coming from the same thinking of how to put down the corporation of the United States, that all the corporation like Russia, Armenia, and others, Canada, are linked to the corporation of the United States. Then when they will go down this corporation by invoking the pyramid structure again with artificial law again, and all the Republic of 1871, this is coming with pressure metals that we had at the time. But these pressure metals, right now that the people, some people they knew, they are just, this is not a new order, this is a new mafia order, because the people that they gather the pressure metals, and we have also in Antarctica also the control of these pressure metals is coming also from there, and from all the corruption and everything. So practically some people, they have these pressure metals, and right now when the pressure metals, the price will just jump, they will become millionaire, but they are not the ones that they are for the people. So this is just for others to be just richer, that they had already the money to invest in everything. So it's just another game with people that will become rich and loser. It's nothing else, and the people need to wake up on this direction, because by this new pyramid system that they want to implement right now, they will not go for the people. Even that some of them, they are very good and they want, they still cannot, because the pyramid is keeping all the control. Thank you.
Yeah, just like to add before we go over to Rick, we generally term these things precious metals, and very, very seldom say precious humans, do we? Precious people, precious metals, how much are they worth? How much are the people worth? These ideas of precious metals, why don't we just call them metals? Why don't we just call them product? Why don't we resource? That's all they are, resources, nothing more. We use them to use them. We don't need to put value in them. And this is the point. Who owns the metal? Who owns it? If it's not the planets, and that's owned by all equally. Again, these ideas that something has more value than another and is just manipulated within the system of control in which they create value, and we believe it. So this concept of these things being worth something, they're not. The value we place in them is because we're told that they're valuable, and we're told that we are not. And this must be turned around a little bit. So we release this idea of precious metals and this concept, and we put it back inside, because there's the precious. Again, I just like to add that, Beatrice, because I know what you're saying is perfect, and it gives a bigger depth to the to what's actually going on. Rick, oh sorry, yeah, carry on.
Yeah, it's just to remember to the people that the universe does not understand the English language, the Romanian language, or another one. It's based on energy, frequency, and vibration, and the currency of the universe. It's energy. If we still need, until we will be able to have no financial system, if we still need a financial system, let the people to do this system for themselves and come with a currency that is based on our intrinsic value, please. Only that. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, perfect. And that's the point, where we are, the people are the value. The energetic exchange is different. Brother, over to you. You had your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Very quickly, the bricks are nothing, and the people will choose and are choosing GPMS because the bricks and anything that any government would even attempt to do, they cannot do what GPMS does for everyone. So GPMS is the absolute ultimate choice. So we don't contend with what they are doing. You know, what I wish to do very quickly with Canada with this is, you know, we've been given some figures, some figurative numbers of, in Canada, let's say there's about 10 million dissenting Canadians right at this point. And when you look at the population of Canada with about 40 million, you have 25% of the Canadian population. And, you know, realistically, I'd say it's probably over 50% that are dissenting in some shape or form. However, we'll use the 25%, you know, that are dissenting, and they don't really have a direction. And if let's just say these 10 million in a week had GPMS to know the full direction, boom, it would go very quickly in Canada. And you know what it does, it solves all of these dissenting ones' problems as well right at this time. And you know, with government, as we just said, they need to know that all of the levels of government, all of the bureaucracies worldwide, it's all structured because of the capitalistic monetary system, the competition, and all of this. It's complex. It doesn't need to be this way. So you could say the point I am making here for Canada, their problems in a month, the same as all around the world, could be over in a month. All borders come down and what have you, because this is what's going to occur. And basically borders were only used as a separation mechanism to maintain control over the people, keep them divided so then they're more easily managed and controlled. And that's the basic energy, what is involved with that. But I just wanted to touch on a couple things very quickly, a couple statements before I stop here. So we're open for all meetings, as we said. This is important. Anyone watching this, what is happening is new prominent influencers are emerging, And I need to bring this up because we've been contacting over the course of the last couple years prominent influencers, prominent speakers of and for the people. However, they have been reneging on, let's say, giving the information to the people. It doesn't matter what the reasons are, but what we need to say, if they're not giving the full solution to the people, it becomes obvious that they don't have a genuine intent. So what's occurring as a result divinely is through GPMS, what we are having is more of us are becoming prominent speakers for the people and delivering it. So what I'm saying is all of these past and even present prominent speakers or supposed to be speakers for the people, they are beginning to be matched with the emergence from GPMS, prominent influencers, and very shortly they will either take a back seat or they have
No, gone again. Or they have to start sharing
to
GPMS.
converge and unite with GPMS. Nevertheless, and change the world. One more little thing. What big thing, nothing small with GPMS. You know, this is important. Right at this time, GPMS is a universal nation of approximately, let's say, 55,000 or close to it. There's a little margin of error that was there in the numbers, but nevertheless, it's over 50,000, and this is a significant number that I wish to bring up and reiterate again. When you look worldwide, the supposed representation of 8 billion people on the planet is 47,000 politicians in power. And with that, these 47,000 politicians in power, their only legal stature is artificial negative law. And again, it cannot compete with GPMS at this time, having the accords of the absolute real law, which is the superior law upon the planet. So in fact, having said this, GPMS is the most powerful absolute united nation on the planet, universal nation on the planet right at this time. With that, there was another point I was going to make, and it's in relation to Canada, but I'll just stop because it just kind of went away for a moment.
No,
So I'll stop there. Thank you.
Bring it back in when you remember it, brother. Bring it back in. But one thing that just cropped up or popped into my mind was that all the material on this planet is owned by paper, or controlled by paper, and it's the ones who control the paper. When I say material, I mean the physical bodies of the people, the hearts, the souls, the minds. No, not the souls, but not the hearts, but the minds of the people, and all of the matter is legally contracted onto paper. It's the ones who control the paper have the control over the system. And that's why it's so complicated, because it's all paper based and just made that way so that nobody could fight it. What GPMS does is removes the paper and gives the material back to the people through the people's choice to remove the paper. This isn't about removing money. This is about removing the contractual basis, legal structures, complicated, contradictory paradoxes which are put out there every day, i.e. the lies, deceit, etc., that are fed to the people every day long. And sooner or later, the people are going to get fed up with that. And it's only paper. That's all that is controlling everybody, paper. Simply, we choose to discard it and start a different system. And GPMS is that system, and it is this transitional instrument. GPMS is an instrument. It's owned by everybody. It's a guardianship. And it's an instrument that moves people from one place to another, and the people will choose it and transition to a place where that paper has no power over them, because the power again is within. Again, just adding that to what Rick was saying and to the overall conversation. Where are we? Emily's gone. I'll be quiet now.
No, I'm here. I just don't have a lot of battery left.
Oh, you're good. Has anybody got any other questions? Has anybody got any questions? We've only had some written down. Serge did ask one. Any more questions at this point? Okay, any other topics of conversation, guys, that you'd like to bring up at this point?
I might just add again something to mention to anyone that's basically awakened on various levels of the corruption and what's going on in the world, but maybe hesitant in terms of opening their minds and their hearts to looking at GPMS, is that you know, the evil that's perpetrating what they're doing upon the planet by their nature are very competitive, and they love competition. And whilst they don't stand a chance in heaven, you know, to achieve what they're setting out to achieve, they're playing this like a game of chess, and they're enjoying the game because they're full of ego and they think that they've got it, you know. But this is why basically, you know, people shouldn't be kidding themselves thinking again that actually someone else is going to come to save them, you know, and why we've got to do it, you know. And that's a really important thing just to mention, is that just think about the nature of the people that are running things, or the powers that be and powers that have control over things at the moment. They are competitive people, they are psychopaths, and they enjoy what they do. And so they will relentlessly keep on going, even though we could be seeing all of this truth being revealed constantly and knowing that that's awakening more and more people. They are still not going to think, oh, that they've lost, and they're not going to show any sort of activity as if they've lost. So that's why, again, we just come together, we unify, we keep talking about GPMS, but we actually get together physically, and we will see the numbers grow exponentially once we do. It is going to happen. Like, if you just look at how like the protests have grown, and where we've had these stand in the parks, which were occurring in the UK, I'm sure they're happening in America and in Canada as well. It started off with just a few people hanging out at a park, you know, gathering, talking, and speaking to a few others that were passing by, you know, people coming over to them. What's this all about? What's going on here? And then, of course, more people would gather, you know, but they would have to be frequent events. You have to keep on doing it. And it will just basically grow. And then we can have literally 5,000, then 10,000 people gathering in the cities of the world. And then before you know it, we'll just go viral with it. Because, again, where we're very much kind of limited online, we are relying upon, you know, the algorithms allowing us to spread the word as much as we can online. But we know that we don't have that much control over that. Whereas obviously offline, we can do what we want, right? And we've got absolute power there. And there's so many people that will be very, very quick to actually join us when they actually see that physically occurring, because it's tangible, it's palpable. So, you know, there's a lot of people that, of course, with what's going on around the world, they're getting depressed and they're being affected, and, you know, obviously smoking a lot of weed, and they'll be more complacent. They'll be like thinking, oh yeah, well, you know, I'm not happy about what's going on, and, you know, oh, that sounds like a good idea, but I can't see it happening, or, oh yeah, that sounds great, but they don't have the energy and the motivation to actually go and do anything if there's nothing visible that they can see palpably happening in a physical sense. You know, even going online and having a look at the numbers at this stage will not sort of inspire a lot of people to go off and actually start spreading the word and bringing people to the website. Once it gets to a big enough number and there's people talking about it so much more blatantly online as well, on all of the different social media channels, then of course that will work much more effectively. But offline, I just know that is what we need to do. And if we drag our heels and actually getting together offline, I think it's just going to slow the whole process down. So that's how I feel personally about it. So again, I'll just keep on going on about that. But
it's there is a divine mechanism in here. I mean, there is a sort of a beauty in the darkness not backing down, because they can't. Humanity must choose, and so this is exactly where we are in that catch-22. Why won't they stop? Why won't you choose something different? Why won't you unite? So we are in that sort of bouncing bit, and with the energetics of that, you can see why. As humanity are still generally in denial of what's going on, these ones will continue to play their game. As you said, they enjoy it. Until this unity is created, then why would they stop? And what we're seeing is that continuation. So new this, new that, new fear there, all over the place, and the people are just turning a blind eye to it. But going back to your what was it, your denial of it, GPMS, the numbers. Anybody that looks at GPMS and looks at the numbers hasn't got a clue what GPMS is. And I get it. The herd mentality will come in as more numbers become available, then more will choose to join because it will now be an option for them, whereas it wasn't before. But we do need the two sides of this coin, a quality and then quantity. Both of these work together. So those that don't see the numbers but recognize GPMS, recognize it within, recognize the resonance of it, the undeniability of it, the divinity of it, will be the ones that start to see it without the numbers. And the numbers will come in with the quantity. So one of the things that we got to speak to certain people and say is just slavery or freedom. That's how we give GPMS to certain levels of consciousness. Slavery or freedom, brother, which one? Okay, if you want freedom, put your name here. Because there is just no other way of them seeing what it could be, and it doesn't cost anything. This is the other thing. GPMS is a free choice. It's a free vote. You can take your vote away should you wish. Many others will then start to dig in and look for more questions. So we've got so many scales of those that might choose it. And in giving it to them, they tend to, you could really infuse somebody for 10 minutes, half an hour, and then they leave. The real world comes back and they elastic band back to where they were, and continue in fear again. But that doesn't mean to say the seed wasn't planted. So this is what we've been doing. And with the algorithms and with the way that the internet is working, well, only those that are ready and able to see GPMS will see it. So the internet, the algorithms, their system hasn't got any control over this. This is divine. So it will get to those that need to see it at the right time, which is another trust and faith thing. I'm not worried too much what their algorithms do, because I know that the information gets to those that need it. But the more that unify, the more quality, the more that get GPMS on the intrinsic divine level, that connect and start to work together collaboratively in unity, the more amplification of that energy goes out and opens up the collective consciousness for more to get involved at different levels of consciousness. And what we are missing at the moment, or haven't seen yet at the moment, is the unity of those that are at the higher level of knowing, the ones that are awake, properly awake, the ones that do know the depth, but are still trying to fix it because they're denying the full scale of it, or they don't carry the value within them full enough, the absolute divine authority within them to unify. They still have ego. So we are still watching the unfolding of that ego. We're still watching this breaking down still, even though it's tedious, but nevertheless, it's a divine system. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it is what it is. And as we move forward, this is breaking down more and more. So the sovereign groups, for instance, we're seeing more unity within them, or more openness to GPMS, let's say, rather than unity. The tribal groups, the indigenous groups now have tried lots of other things and they haven't worked. So now they're looking for something else and they're seeing GPMS. So we're finding it in different areas. And as we move forward, more unity creates more unity, as you said, Dan. So it's all happening. It's just, it's slow, kind of divinely timed.
Just before, I think Emily's had a hand up, as Rick's got his hand up as well. Just very quickly add, I mean, obviously, there's so much more going on, as we know, with the energy and the vibration of everything, and consciousness as a whole. So and so many beautiful things going on, all of the amazing work that all the light workers are doing, you know, and the grid work and what have you, which is having a profound effect. Of course, there's so many people who have no idea of anything about that, the nature of that stuff, right? So it'd be really quite, I don't know, I mean, I kind of wonder whether or not there should be some sort of kind of consciousness course or something where we can actually like have people measure their level of consciousness and then bring them up to speed on all of these different things, GPMS with it, because actually maybe that could help. I don't know. I mean, that's something that would take obviously a lot of time, and I certainly haven't got the time to do it, as most of us here haven't. But yeah, I don't know. There are those gaps. So you see people with, like, you know, very open minds in many areas of reality, but then still shockingly closed-minded with other aspects. And there must be a way to be able to bridge those gaps somehow. I would think.
Well, they're divinely there because fear is still within, and the ones must release their fear. So those gaps are still there to hold them in the areas that they must go through to pass, to release. This is all about release, release of ideas, release of beliefs, release of concepts, release of limitation. And all of those things are what people hold on to. So yeah, again, we are seeing those consciousness blockages, but they are divine filters because they can't go to another layer whilst they're still holding the remnants of the fears that were in the layer below. But it, you know, again, as the frequency on the planet is rising, and let's not make this about an energetic conversation, but as the frequency rises, these layers are released. So these ones are releasing them. So it is inevitable, again, that what you're talking to with that consciousness lift, it's happening on a divine scale, on the divine physics of creation. Emily, I think you had your hand up first.
Yes, I just want to, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to cover the fear. Some of the fears that the people have is, you know, their need to protect their resources, protect their shelter, protect the things that they've worked so hard for to gain in this world. And there is not an option in the old system to protect what you've worked for. There's not an option for that. Every single thing that you do every single day is an attempt to take your resources away from you. So the total solution to that is GPMS.world, because GPMS.world is a limitless system. It isn't limited like the old system where everybody has to fight to be equal. We are equal in the new world. Everyone lives in abundance in the new world. On the higher timeline, there's all these adjustments going on all the timelines that's been playing out. That higher timeline is coming, and I've been watching and listening to light workers all over the social media. They say, something's coming. I can feel it. Something's coming. Can you feel that? Something's coming. And I just message them and I'm like, yeah, it's called unity. It's called freedom. And this is what GPMS.world has created. So people that don't know about the GPMS.world, the moment they find out about it, their higher self has already got them coded and ready for it, and they're open to receive the message. So I don't want anybody to think, you know, I don't want you to hold back. I don't want you to think you have to hold back. Now is the time to share the information more than ever, because the people are ready for it.
Talk freely and truly. Beautiful. Rick, you got your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, brother. You know, in the US, the biggest problem, let's say, was the election. And, you know, but it's not only the US, as either Beatrice or Emily touched on before, it's worldwide. But very quickly with the US, when we look at when Trump in 2016, he got in with a quarter of the votes of the American population. But just quickly, to go to some numbers, even back then, let's say the majority of the US did not support any form of government because half of them did not even vote, if you will, in that election. And since that time, there's a lot more. The thing with GPMS, there are no elections. There is no reason to elect any party because you have everyone working together with GPMS, and they are all good oriented. There is no reason for personal gain with GPMS. There is no incentive to steal because everyone is sharing with everything. So you eradicate corruption right out of there. So the simple thing is, and I see it in Canada, they're thinking they can go into government and change things. That's absolutely ridiculous. The structure of their governments are designed to control the people. It's the simple, most competent solution is GPMS. Just unite the people, throw the government's packages worldwide, just throw it away and get it out of the mess, and just everyone come together and and share everyone in abundance and freedom. So it's done very, very simply and quickly. So there are no elections in this new world that we are creating. There was one other thing I was going to say with this, I believe. Yeah, so simply, no one can be bought with GPMS worldwide because everyone is their own value, their own bank, and we're all just adding it all together. So again, there is no crime worldwide once we have GPMS there. And GPMS is the absolute solution for every one of your problems worldwide. So again, you just come together, and with all of the people, it's the
You're going to start again?
and the higher consciousness, government, you get in, got to wear or the crown. So, with that, look what you're doing. So you might have a very credible candidate, but the moment they get in there, they're sucked in to the same old thing. This is why you never, ever, ever had before any politician fulfilling the promises. So GPMS, again, throw that whole political arena out of the way, have the people come together with unlimited resources, and one's administrating and sharing the money, all of the resources, everyone working in harmony. This is the simple solution. And yeah, I'll stop there. Thank you.
I've had some questions lately based on the same thing, brother, about people need an energetic exchange. We need there must be a cost. People like value. They like to think that they're buying something, and they must exchange something for something else. And when I asked the guy that was asking me the other day about the same thing, about people wouldn't require exchange value, I said, well, if your value is infinite, and so is mine, and so is everybody else's, what do you charge another? What can you possibly charge another that has everything for what it is that you are offering? This idea of value must be reinvented. We must rethink what value is, as opposed to material gain for something. But really, what is it? Is it not? This is the savagery, and this is the brutality in which the prison in which the mind is held through this existing system, is that there needs to be something, this quid pro quo, this give and take, this profit and greed, and this is capitalism. This is all based on what Rick was just talking to there. I think he was trying to say competition, where you're clambering over the next to get a little bit more. And all the time, the ones in control are laughing at you whilst taking everything that you make and making it harder for you to continue. So all of this must stop, and it must stop in a way that benefits all equally. It must go back to a place where it is so truthful and transparent. It cannot devolve back into what situation has arisen now. And that must mean it's founded in an equal status where everybody agrees to what it is that they are and what it is that they're agreeing to. This is sharing, and this is the basis of GPMS, where everybody agrees that they are unlimited. The value within is unlimited in each. Born that way, everybody has the same inalienable rights, freedom, moral determination, everything is yours, and it is your brothers and your sisters. These are all equal. And this is the basis of the new world, which is the complete antithesis of the old one, where the whole thing is built on disparity, poverty, lack, mockery and scorn, anger, blame, grief, guilt, and all of these things are indoctrinated into people. And they live in perpetual torment. This must stop. And of course, GPMS ends all of this when the people choose it. And until the people are willing to choose unity and put down their division, put down their national pride, put down their separation ideas, i.e. the fear mind, then we will continue and see this continuing. But in the same mode, we will continue to put GPMS out to everybody, knowing full well that that unity is coming. It's not if, it's just when. It is the sooner the better, but that's where we are right now, state of affairs, if you will. And this isn't just in one country. Den's talking about England. It's the same in the Philippines. It's the same in East Asia, brother. It's the same in America. It's just, it plays out slightly differently, but the fears are still there. The lack of belief and the worthlessness, the valuelessness that each carries within them. Well, I'm not worthy of freedom. I'm not worthy of unlimited money. What about them? What are they going to do? All of these concepts, they're not from the heart. And that's what's being opened up, I believe, on the planet right now as we rise, is this ability to empathize, to release the lies that we tell ourselves through that fear concept in the mind, the ego self, and balance that out a little bit. And respect everybody else. This idea of you having to work, that's prevalent in the Western democracies. The cultural difference in the East is making the East more available to a significant change, which is absolute. We can see that's what happened. That's what's happening. But the poverty, the intrinsic value that we've seen taken from humanity is incredible, absolutely incredible. And this must stop. Thank you.
Beautiful, bro. I would say there's probably about 75 to 100 million people, though, that are ready to actually see GPMS and accept it immediately. But of course, they're just dispersed, and it's a case of when they will see the information, when it will be put before them. And of course, that number agreeing to GPMS visibly will have a profound effect, especially with the collaboration that comes along with it as well, with a big number that would be very, very involved as well with taking it forward as well at that point. So again, it's just the numbers game to actually work through all of the ones that aren't there yet and aren't quite ready yet, but will be, to find the ones that are ready to see it immediately. Because like I say, I mean, that one that I had just the other day, just 2 minutes, I didn't have to talk about it for any longer than 2 minutes, and I could say that there was no conversation there about anything to do with consciousness really, or anything that was even necessary. He just knew that, something has to be done, and loved the idea that there was this unity that was going on, and but then there's obviously many of us which are, higher in our states of consciousness and have done our inner work and things, of course, are ready to know that this is the solution. It's the most obvious and most beautiful solution. Because obviously some of those ones will obviously be ready, but in principle, but but then they might have their hang-ups, as some do when they look at something, think, oh, okay, looks a bit religious or something, because people obviously can draw those conclusions if they don't look at the site properly and then speak to people and have their questions answered. But yeah.
I love the conservative numbers, brother. I'm going to go for more like 4 to 5 billion already for GPMS, but you can go for 75 to
Oh
100
yeah,
million.
yeah, yeah.
It's
But
just perspective, brother. It's just perspective.
they're ready for it, definitely. But like we know, many of those that 4 billion have such a lack of self-worth, they can't see themselves being entitled to that freedom, and that's the
Yeah,
whole.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean, my friend. But we'll see. We'll see when this virality comes in a little bit, and when this energy rises a little bit, or when something comes out to paradigm shift the collective consciousness. We may see a lot more very, very quickly. And that may be what everybody's talking about. Something big's coming.
I can feel it in my bones.
Yeah,
So,
man. Beatrice, were you trying to say something? Sorry, I thought you had your hand up. I may have mistaken that.
Yeah, so no, it's just to say thank you so much. The GPMS exists, it's here, and it's for everyone. Because on these last years, and I can say even since 2010, I saw no other group like that. I saw no other people like. So I would like this to happen today. So it's just to unite and just let it go. Because all the problem that we can see around us, will do not go so easy with other ideas and other supposed solution that practically will just make balance to few situation, but will do another way of how can I say non-functionality well for other situations. So they are not balanced, and I said that, and they started to come after me and trying to say doesn't matter what. So also the parallel system in Canada that started to develop, I said from the beginning, there are people involved that they really wanted to make like a parallel system for everyone, but others, they started to be involved just to be the future owners, the future rich people that will attract people on the situation that Canada is today. So this is not working for everyone, and the timing also, it's extremely slow, that the parallel system may advance a little bit better in another way, and it's still based inside of the same criminal system. So the solution that were presented until today are not working, and it's just a matter of time, like maybe 1 month, if we are able to gather together to start real solution and to start to implement GPMS.world. So everything it's inside of us, and we can do that. It's just I'm not speaking here to the leaders because I saw already so many that they refuse GPMS idea because they will be not the leader that they are today. I'm speaking to the people that they will start to come and they will knock to the door of others, and they will say it takes just your agreement, your consent with universal natural law, is nothing else. Then we will start on the direction that we want. So this is also the reason that I invited Andrea to work with me, and I would like to work with everyone in Canada on any kind of project, because the freedom is only one, is GPMS.org through universal natural law, and this is 100% real autonomy system. So nothing else, no political party, no president, no prime minister, no king, no queen, nobody above the people. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Rick, you got your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, brother. It's very important for all to know, and you can elaborate perhaps on this, Lee. It's getting late here, and I'm soon going to go. But it's important for all to know that's working on, let's say, blockchain alternative monetary systems and trade systems, if you will. It's important to know who owns and operates the internet and who owns and operates the current financial system, which is your actual enemy. So having said this, you can create currency after currency on the internet, but if you don't own the platform where it's at, it becomes useless to you. So this is common sense for everyone worldwide, that you need to stand up, you need to unite now, you need to create the majority to take the rightful and lawful ownership of these very two important mainstays of the present society: the worldwide internet and the financial routing system, so we can, the people, distribute the unlimited funds. You are at the mercy, the full mercy of less than 1%, unless you take the lawful and rightful ownership of the internet, at least. Thank you. Love, light, and gratitude. You can elaborate, brother.
No, brother, I don't. I think we're nearly 2 hours in. I'd like to keep it under 2 hours if we can. I think we've covered quite a multitude of topics, again, without going into the intricacies and delicacies of GPMS. We've spoken to why, what, where, and how, without delving too deep into nuts and bolts, which we don't need to go to. It is obvious to most there is an urgency that something must happen. It's just most are relying on it being done for them. And unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. There has to be action, and that action is only a case of saying yes to something else, and allowing that to happen. As one of the old things we said was, GPMS is not being done for you, it will be done by you, and that is still very much true. It needs everybody to create it as it is everybody's. If everybody is equal, then everybody has an equal say, and everybody has to do their part to a certain degree. So it's not a case of just sitting back and allowing things to happen for you. You've seen that doesn't work. As much as it's been promised, and politicians don't just lie, they're paid to lie. The whole point of what they do is to let people down under the guise that they couldn't do any more because money was limited, or this scarcity is another lie. All of these ideas and concepts are all false. I don't want to go down a list. I did think about it earlier of documenting what isn't true, but it'd be a lot easier to document what was true, and there's very little of that. So we'll leave it at that for now. Has anybody got any other questions? I was going to say we got about 10 minutes left maybe, or should we round this one up and post it and let others watch? Are we good?
Yeah, so we started when in Romania it was maybe 3 a.m. in the morning, so some of us are during the night time.
Yeah. Rick was 3 a.m. I think. I was 7 a.m. and I haven't slept yet, so I'm going to finish as soon as this finishes. I'm going to bed. But that's okay. Maybe divinely. But if we are done, let me just check the messages, make sure. Greatest work. Okay, so I think we're good. So if we are, it's been a pleasure, guys. Again, thank you all so much for turning up and having a chat, and thank you for all the asked questions. It allows us to develop the story, or develop GPMS, and speak to it openly. Tony, what you got there, brother? Put it in front of the camera. There you go. GPMS business card. I think just to mirror you, my friend.
Thank you.
So we got all of these. Anything you can do like this to share the information with people is what we're finding, little bits of handouts or little bits, whatever you can do to plant the seeds, flyers, little A4 documents, whatever, handing them out. And again, if we've got to do it that way, it seems that is the way we have to do it. So at this point, until the others turn up and we can get more of a congruence, then we are out on the streets, and we are out just speaking to people, handing things out to them, and online the best we can. And this will come to fruition. Okay.
For the water sign, I love it so much. Yeah, I love both of them right now. Also the GPMS, that is the infinite sign inside. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good night, everyone.
Yes, it's beautiful.
And, love,
thank
light, and gratitude. Thank you, Lee, for hosting this once again, and all the co-hosts and all the guardians and members of GPMS. Have a beautiful morning, day, or night, wherever you may be. Woo!
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.